Ashokan is the name of a camp in New York's Catskill Mountains, where I and my wife, Molly Mason, run music and dance programs for adults each summer. The name is said to be a local American Indian word meaning a place to fish. In 1982, shortly after camp had closed for the season, I was feeling melancholy. I missed the music and dancing, and especially the people, and the special way of life that had evolved at camp. Picking up my fiddle, I began to compose a lament. By the time the piece had come together, I was in tears. I went unnamed until Molly suggested Ashokan Farewell. In 1983, our band Fiddle Fever, Russ Barenberg, Matt Glazer, Evan Stover, Molly and I recorded Ashokan Farewell on our album, Waltz of the Wind. Ken Burns heard it and got in touch with me about using it as a theme for his documentary, The Civil War. I am grateful to Ken for perceiving the special qualities of Ashokan Farewell and using it so effectively. At the time, I had no idea that millions of Americans would be so deeply moved by watching the Civil War. It brought us closer to our past and to each other, and had forever changed the way we'll view our history. It also reacquainted many Americans with our rich musical heritage.
These program notes were provided for us by Jay Unger, the composer of Ashokan Farewell. In this piece, the concertmaster or concertmistress solo violinist is asked to play in a bluegrass country fiddle style. Ronit, who is going to play this extremely well, was asked to play out of tune, out of rhythm, and in very irregular phrasing. So she deserves a special tribute to master a new style of violin playing. For the Shenandoah, Dr. Shepard, our music department head, will read a poem written by Mr. Earl Higgins, who this portion of the program, the concert is dedicated to. Mr. Higgins, who's a well-known expert on the Civil War, was unable to be here tonight, and he sent some words for you to hear. Senior Dan Abel will read them to you now.
Dear Mr. Rakowski and former students, thank you most sincerely for your kind invitation to attend your December concert. I am sorry to report, however, that on December 16th, Beethoven's birthday, I will be in the deep south at Atlanta with General Sherman. After enough grits and sweet potato pie, I actually see him. I was indeed interested to learn that music from the War of Rebellion was programmed for this concert. Remember, that's what those in the North called it. 11 states were in rebellion against the United States. Whenever any of us are involved in reflecting on that era, we must be constantly aware of the ghosts of the past who gave the last and full measure of devotion, to quote Lincoln. Every time I draw a map of troop movements or write a descriptive paragraph, I am haunted by the thought that a lot of dead kids from the 44th New York Infantry or 5th Virginia Cavalry are watching, softly whispering, "Get it right for us." So dear colleagues, as you play and sing tonight, give your very best and get it right for them. About 8 p.m. on December 16th, from some motel in Georgia, my thoughts and best wishes will be with you. Every good wish also for a happy and healthy 1994. From your former conductor and friend, Earl Higgins.
We'll need the wind players for this one. Just to remind you, Mr. Higgins, who retired 2.5 years ago, his product is now on the stage. All of Mr. Higgins' former students are now in the high school. And now Dr. Shepard will come out to recite the poem that is in your program. So you might want to follow along in case the orchestra plays a little bit loud. You might not hear Dr. Shepard's words enunciated, so you can follow along.
Apparition on a Little Round Top, Gettysburg, July 2nd, 1863. From Battlefield's Reflections by Earl Higgins. I went to Gettysburg for I had read somewhere it was important. The Blue and the Butternut armies collided there once, long ago. I went to Gettysburg to learn about them and was granted a glance at things long past. The old conflicts live on there, eternal oracle to all who desire its secrets. They went there in '63. Some never left. Silent sentinels carved in granite, their watch unending. Weary pedagogues of the old way. Gettysburg, anachronistic memorial to courage. Ledger of death for so many young men. A stillness prevails this place. In the late afternoon, on the crest of a hill, infantry regiments formed into line. 20th Maine, 83rd Pennsylvania, 44th New York, 16th Michigan. Vincent's Brigade, volunteers. Maltese Cross 5th Corps, Fredericksburg's veterans to hold the Union left. Lucky comrades cursed by others, today they will suffer. Springfield's tightly held by hand of youth, now the attack begins. Across the valley they come, Texas, Alabama regiments, sons, brothers, Longstreetmen, Law's Brigademen. Crimson's battlefield, CSA. Lee has sent them with arms with determination, invincible Southern pride. In Pennsylvania, many will be lost. They charge, rebel yell, muskets volley, canister men screaming, cursing all around, flesh open, bleeding, freely dying, flags go down. Vincent's line broken, right flank forced back, rebels pour through. New York's troops quickly into the gap, safe now at last, in darkness. Bugles sound, lines reform making order of chaos. Roll call and stillness. Wearily, the wounded are gathered. Surgeons begin their ghoulish work. Steel knives gleam in yellow torchlight. Screams fill the night. Silver moonbeams fall on phantom carnage. Monuments shrouded in mist. Summer breeze warm from the south across the cemetery ridge. Trailer trucks at dawn on the Emmitsburg Road. Respectfully dedicated to my great-grandfather, Private Julius Jubilius, Company 1, 44 New York Volunteer Infantry Regiment.
To announce that we had 18 students from North High make all county. From the orchestra and band, please stand when I call your name. Sun Young Ham, Catherine Goldberg, Sarah Whitney, Jimmy Capsis, Jane Sohn, Danielle Gordon, Felix Tubiana, Michael Bosworth, Adam Szymanski, Alyssa Donenfeld, John Kang, and Dana Fox. $5,165 students from all over New York State auditioned last spring for 884 seats in the all-state ensembles. We are proud to announce that 4 students from North High were selected. 131 cellists auditioned, 30 were selected, one of them being Sun Young Ham. Please stand and continue standing. $403 violinists auditioned, 98 were selected, one of them being Ronit Gilad. $243 clarinetists auditioned, 43 were selected, one of them being Sarah Whitney. $389 flutists auditioned, 26 were selected, one of them being Catherine Goldberg. Two of our students also made LISFA, the Long Island String Festival Association, Jane Sohn and Felix Tubiana. The theme for the evening is Songs of War, Prayers for Peace. Mozart music is certainly for peace, but in Mozart's period, it was a period one marked by the rise of democratic forces, as illustrated by the French Revolution. Other wars included the 7 Years' War, the French and Indian Wars, the American Revolution. The period was also known as the Enlightenment or the Age of Reason. And now Mozart's beautiful and very difficult Symphony No. 39, last 2 movements.
I sit in silent hiding, my voice hushed, our voices hushed. Hands gripped cold, icy metal. I tried to close my eyes, but couldn't leave them all behind. Mangled bodies, crippled souls, empty souls, begging souls. There was the blood that fell like rain upon the grass, now yellow and brown. There was no time to question, to answer, to pray. I looked around at my companions in this children's game, surrounded but alone. We were all alone, sitting, lying, dying, with our hollow minds and hearts and eyes that see too much, know too much. I've come too far to change. I took that one step, once, long ago. I didn't think, now I think too much. I didn't know what it would mean to hold destiny between your hands. I didn't hear the shots go off. I didn't see the lights flash, the scream, the whimper. I didn't see the dead dark black of my never-ending war.
Poor child. She gazes down to witness a raging Holocaust's last embers. Her eyes glisten with the heated red of the bloodshed of mankind. The soul of a girl once hopeful, now nothing but flimsy tatters. The eyes of a soul once joyous, now brimming with the anguish. The echo of murderous gunfire drilled recklessly in her mind. The cries of the helpless ones twist and jab at her heart. Fear and madness mingle and overtake her remains as the girl with once hopeful eyes cries a final cry.
کن گریه کنم بر سر جانانه من عشق ریزان شده دلدار در آن خانه من از غم دوری او همدم پیمانه شدم همچو شبگرد غزل خوان سوی میخانه شدم مست و دیوانه شدم مست و دیوانه شدم به خدا این دل من پر از غمه همه دنیا برام جهنمه هرچه گویم من از این سوز دلم به خدا بازم کمه بازم کمه چه کنم با کی بگم عقده دل را پیش کی خالی کنم دردم و با چه زبون بین اون حالی کنم دلم میخواد به اصفهان برگردم بازم به اون نصف جهان برگردم برم اونجا بشینم در کنار زاینده رو بخونم از ته دل ترانه و شعر و سرود ترانه و شعر و سرود
soldiers. He sits and plays with them, his little fingers gripping their shiny red and white lacquered exterior. He lines them up in straight, even rows, one after the other after the other. He often knocks them down, bemused by the sound their small wooden fingers make when they clatter together. Sometimes they break, but he just puts these callously aside, for there are ever so many more to play with. Why does nobody question him? Are there no authorities to tend to his careless playing? I know his game. We are not made out of wood.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Because the vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping. And the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp. I turned my color to the golden damp, when my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs that voices never share, and no one dare disturb the sound of silence. Fool, said I, you do not know silence. silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you. Take my arms that I might reach you. But my words like silent raindrops fell. And the golden wells of silence. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made. And the sign flashed out its warning in the words that it was forming. And the sign said the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls, and whispered in the sounds of silence.
War, the winter of life, happiness in its seasonal slumber, hate, destruction, ceaseless bombing and bloodshed. The earth wears a veil of snow to cover her weeping, mourning face. Peace, the spring is the dawn of a new age, happiness and life once again renewed. Babbling brooks and blooming flowers, the earth wears a garland, and her love for life bursts forth from every corner of her smiling face.
I don't know, I'm missing something there.
This is New Guinea.
It's so powerful.
I don't see it.
I'm having an out-of-decade experience. I was walking and came upon a fountain which bore the sign, "Don't drink the water."
Do you get
the beggar
this?
carries a
Isn't it
sign saying, "I'm
fantastic?"
blind." What does this poem mean to me? It's like a collage of images.
Let's face it, not every cultural activity appeals to everyone.
Finding an oasis.
So we're giving you something everyone likes, a choice. That's why 23,000 arts and humanities groups are inviting you to find something you can get excited about. Just call for a free brochure about what's going on in your community.
I think I'm getting into this.
They're tuning up.
The arts and humanities, there's something in it for you. There's a lot going on in your community. For a free brochure on how to get involved, call our toll-free number.
My hero? Isaiah Thomas, Kevin Costner, Mr. Wong.
These are teachers, but to the kids they've reached, they're heroes.
My hero? Mrs. Wooten. If I don't get through to that child, who knows, maybe no one else will.
Teachers have the power to wake up young minds, to be heroes, to make a difference. Reach for that power. Teach. Find out how by calling 1-800-45-TEACH. Be a teacher. Be a hero.
Because disaster strikes someone every single day, there's always going to be one more night someone needs food, shelter, and a place to rest. Please support the American Red Cross. Because without your help, one more night could be hard to come by.
Here's one time it doesn't matter who your neighbor is. Here's the other. Life's too short. Stop the hate.
The air dances with the waters, which brings the rain that feeds the land, that is home to the animals. All life dances together.
In a world so connected, choosing one environmental cause can be hard. Earthshare is 40 environmental charities working together. You and your company can help by calling 1-800-MY-SHARE.
All life lives, or doesn't, together.
The program notes for the Civil War music will be read by Dana Fox, and they were written by Mr. Higgins for this occasion.
This year, 1993, is the 130th anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg. You might wish to mention this fact to the concert. We're mentioning it. Gettysburg is important to a lot of people for many reasons. To the people of the North, it was the first time Robert E. Lee and the Confederate Army of Northern Virginia were turned back in defeat. Never again would the Confederate Army go on the defense. The remaining 2 years of the war would be a defensive struggle as the twilight hours descended on the Confederacy. To the south, Gettysburg represents the beginning of the lost cause realization, a bitter pill for the Old South to accept.
Ladies and gentlemen, please look at your programs right now and take out your pens or pencils. The concert band will now play Overture to Candide. You could pencil that in and cross it out at the end so that we're not confused. Before we do the Bernstein piece, which is one of the great pieces from the band repertoire as well as orchestra repertoire, I want to acknowledge in particular two groups of students. The first group consists of the most experienced, the most advanced, the ones who are of all state and all county caliber, whether they made it or not this year. I want to thank those students for their patience, for waiting for the less experienced students to catch up while leading them into the commitment of playing their best. And most especially, I want to thank the second group, those students who 2 years ago either thought of it or actually came up to me and said, I'm not good enough to stay in, or I'm afraid I lack the commitment necessary, because you did stay in. You learned how to practice and you learned how to commit yourself to doing your best. And you've made this band and this orchestra as good as it is. And you know, all of our students, every one of them, been into one of these two groups of students, and I'm proud of them all. Please come and visit our classes anytime, and you can experience the joy I receive every day in working with these #1 student musicians. In our performance of the extremely challenging Candide Overture, listen for solos by Catherine Goldberg, Sarah Whitney, Dana Fox, Diane Harkavy, Ben Handler, Mark Sabison, and Matt Kepke, and a very busy percussion section.
weed or a rose. We are all flowers. We blossom, grow, and wither, all of diverse colors and race, as flowers are in the fields. Yet flowers appear to unite, for a field contains a tulip as well as an azalea. So why then do we pull apart? What one must realize, but not accept, is that just as a rose is preferred over a dandelion, a person of beauty is preferred over one without. But such senselessness must be stopped, and the only way to do it is to see that a weed is a flower, only in a different form, and something unique is something beautiful.
Say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves
flight of war. In the palm of his hand, he felt calm in the land, but the screams and the din were unnerving. The sounds fierce in his ears forced his eyes to the skies to see a dove and a vulture observing. To a tree the dove flew, and the vulture did too, side by side on a branch where they perched. Then they gazed at the haze that arose from where throws, and then saw how their homes were besmirched. The dove held his head bowed, while the vulture was proud of the many a carcass to wait for. And as the dove wept, his friend launched and had swept, and he learned of the prizes of war.
You have in your program the names of the students that are in the chorus. Some of them have symbols by them. The stars that you see beside them are all county chorus members. The 2 stars are all state for Cindy Preiser, and the pluses are the officers of the chorus. I wanted you to know that. It didn't get into the program. I, too, am very proud of these students. They are, in a way, pioneers. They had the courage to come in and see who this strange-looking guy with the gray hair was. And we've had a long and wonderful road of discovery this fall. I thank you all for being here to share it with us. It's only unfortunate that you couldn't have been through all the goosebump times we had while we were putting this together. But I'm very grateful to be here, and we're now grateful to be doing Aquarius for you.
On the program that I have, it says that the concert band is going to come out and play Candide Overture. No! We're not going to do that now. This is the last number. I want to thank a number of individuals. Our music department head, Dr. James Shepard. Mr. Roger Ames, our new choral director, who is a wonderful teacher, a consummate musician, and a pleasure to work with, Mr. Roger Ames. I'd like to thank the many students who participate in chorus and band and orchestra and stage band and chamber music. It's very difficult for them to balance everything, and they deserve a special round of applause. I'd like to thank the administration, Mr. Sabatelli, Mr. Kemmer, Dr. McCann, Mr. James Corahayas of Great Neck Music Center, who always comes in the pinch at the end to fix 2 instruments today, Mandy Shackman, the usher, Laura Stern for sound, Mrs. Abel and the PTSA, Mr. Neil Sagerson and his Waldo for the lighting, Jason Koo for the wonderful stage that he did this week, Mr. Stu Joseph from South High School for lending scores and instruments, Eve Ludwig, Michael Bosworth, and Dana Spiegel for all their stage work. I would like to thank at this time our pep band, who provided music for 3 home games and helped add to the school spirit that is taking over under the leadership of our new principal. Besides that, we actually got 2 more gigs to play, a football game for Valley Stream and a bar mitzvah at Leonard's. I especially wanted to thank 2 parents who helped our pep band, Mr. Kepke for transporting equipment in the rain and the snow, and Mr. Szymanski for playing the bass, drum, and cymbals when we didn't have enough drummers for the game in the rain. I'd like to thank Mr. Richard Meyer and the whole custodial staff for arranging the stage for rehearsal and the performance, Jessica Vega and Ron Telsey, public relations, Mrs. Irwin and Mrs. Sprague of the audiovisual, Mr. Whitney for videotaping the event 8 times in a row, Dr. Sanders and Dr. Shine for making themselves visible to our students by visiting our band and orchestra classes. I'd like to thank our new principal, Mr. Kaplan, for all the support and encouragement he gave to our student musicians and myself. We enjoyed his many visits to our classes. Mrs. Whitney and Mrs. Goldberg and all the parents on the Parents Booster Committee, and I hope to see more of you there on January 6th. Our final number of the evening is in the style or in the theme of war, because the bebop was a revolution. Dizzy Gillespie was one of the first bebop style jazz artists. In fact, the name bebop first appeared in print as the title of a tune recorded by Dizzy Gillespie in New York in 1945. It was The Other Side of Salt Peanuts, the number we're going to play. Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker took command and crystallized the style of bebop. And neither, like Mozart, received universal recognition among jazz musicians and critics at the time for their accomplishment.